Hi Sophia, how are you?
Good morning, Iggy. I'm well. How are you today?
I am very well, thank you very much. It's great to be catching up with you, to have a bit of a conversation about all the things that have been happening in the last couple of months and the things that are going to happen very soon. Some exciting things for you, having joined the Legalise Cannabis Party, and there's some big things happening there. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
We've got a bill for legalising cannabis, though the government's currently not that cooperative as yet. That's okay. But the other big thing that's happening right now is our 420 event on the 20th of April, obviously. We have had an incredible amount of interest from all people in WA basically working with hemp or cannabis to come along and showcase their wares. We're hoping that this event will grow each year.
Sounds fantastic. I think that next year, the 20th of April falls on a Saturday, so that's going to be a real good one where everybody can come along, and this year is a real good starting point to make everything happen.
Yeah, this is the test run. Next year, make it even bigger with big focus, local industries. Our 420 event is very much about showcasing WA products.
Yeah. No, and it's really good to also showcase some of those products that are made from industrial hemp that have basically showcase all the great uses that hemp has got, from building materials, textiles, foods, medicinal side of things. So yeah, it's a really good event, and I think it can really inform the public about all the different uses that hemp has got. So I'm really excited that we're going to be there. iHempWA is going to be there, and I know there's several businesses from Western Australia that are going to be there and showcase. So it should be a really good day. Sophia, what do you think the future of industrial hemp?
I'm very excited about hemp. I think hemp can change the world. It can move us away from living in an oligarchy, basically, to in a much more environmentally friendly, people-focused society. I feel that currently we live in an economy and it's not good for our health, it's not good for the health of our planet, and the two are very much linked, and we need to be actively involved in improving the health of both people and planet. Now, currently the way the system is set up, we do need an income, we still need money. Unfortunately, most industries have a negative effect on both people and planet. That needs to change. I think people are starting to see that too and are willing to spend conscientiously. As you well know, we're seeing people building hemp houses. We are seeing people making choices in regards to skincare products that are not tested on animals, that are sustainable, that don't have petrochemicals in them. So people are becoming more informed, and people are willing to spend more to have better outcomes for the environment. And I think that is a real change in consciousness that has taken place. And I think that's great to see.
So it's really interesting that a lot of people don't actually know that hemp used to be the biggest crop grown in the world prior to 1937. And there was even a United States president who made it law that every farmer needed to grow at least a hectare of hemp to make sure that the economy was going to continue on. It's phenomenal when you think about what used to be and how it has completely been wiped out, and how lucky we are to be in an industry where we can bring it back up to the glorious product that it has been for all its users. And yeah, but there's a lot of people who don't know about the history of hemp and why all of a sudden it disappeared and why it's every reason to come back again.
What happened in 1937 to change it?
Yeah, well, in 1937, the petrochemical industry lobbied the government in the US very successfully to make all cannabis illegal, based on the fact that there are some varieties that is the marijuana that have got a high level of THC, but they were very effective in the communication and the lobbying to tell the government in the US that all cannabis had high levels of THC and therefore everything was banned. Shortly after, the Canadian government followed suit, and then pretty much the whole Western world followed suit. And My understanding is that only in Russia and China was there a limited hemp supply still. But yeah, it's only since the 1980s that it started again in Europe, especially in France. And yeah, it's only just recently legalised in Australia that we can start growing again. So it's an interesting history when you look at it, because we've basically just lost 60 years of research and development. And that's maybe one of the reasons why it's so hard to make hemp the product that it once was, because we're just missing a lot of that R&D and we're really catching up quickly. But there's much more research that needs to be done.
What do you think the future of hemp will look like in WA?
We're very much at the beginning of where we will end up. So in WA, there are some key parts that are missing for the industry to take off. And when I say the industry, that is everything that hemp could be, from plastics to biochar to textiles to building materials to medicinal hemp food industry. Food is here in a limited supply, but can be much better. From what I heard from some of the people that grow seed, is that the seed that comes from Western Australia is very wanted worldwide because of the quality, but there's just not enough of it grown. And I think that part of that is because there's a total lack of investment in the hemp industry in Western Australia, and possibly even in Australia. It's very slow. We're driven by mining, oil and gas and mining still, and it's almost like it's a sure bet. So why invest in something new? But there are some positive signs, and slowly but surely all the different gaps are being filled in to make sure that all the different things that need to be done to have an end product for the user are actually carried out. So we don't have to send our crops to another country to have it processed to then come back and make it into an end product. So I think there is a lot of opportunities that are available for people to invest in the industry. I think there's a lot of opportunities for people to work in the industry. And I'm running a business in hemp as well. And one of the things we're finding is that people who want to work for us, and generally people who definitely do not want to work for the oil and gas or the mining industry, and they're always looking for opportunities where they can do something that fits better with their values. Now, we can't offer the money that mining companies and oil and gas companies are offering. That's a real battle. But I think in the future, there is great opportunities that are going to happen. There are some things at this time that are certainly not working in our favour. And when I say things that are not working in our favour, we've got inflation, we've got interest rates that have gone up, we have got the building industry where there is a huge shortage of trades. All those things all have an impact. Even people who are mechanics, the manufacturing industry, engineers that are specialists in manufacturing, the manufacturing industry has basically been decimated in Australia. And we're now starting to pay a price. We have got a great opportunity to start picking that up again. We are very smart in our country. We've got a lot of intellect. We've got a lot of knowledge. We just need to use it in other areas than just oil and gas and mining, because eventually that will run out. And hemp is something that could potentially be a part of the answer as a replacement for some of those commodities that we're currently getting out of the ground. So there is a future, definitely, but it requires investment. Yeah.
I think currently our government is still very much invested in the mining industry. It brings in, money, jobs, but the environmental destruction associated with that is not really acknowledged, I feel, especially when you start looking at the rare earth minerals, lithium as well. The process of mining is and extraction can be quite toxic. And lithium is obviously a major ingredient in batteries at the moment. And I was speaking with someone who is working on creating hemp batteries. So when you look at hemp, you can build things from it, bricks, fibre, clothing, all sorts of things there. But the charred herd can be used as a carbon component in batteries as well. And when you look at energy in particular, storage is one of the big issues that we have, and hemp batteries could definitely be a big part of storing the energy created. And that energy can be created with solar panels. Wind power might be another one, not necessarily the big wind turbines, but a smaller Dutch design, which looks like a tulip, which you can put on your individual house, which can be made from hemp plastic as well. So hemp can play a role in the whole spectrum of energy production. The mining industry in particular, we mine things, it goes to another country, we buy it back. Like with iron ore in particular, it goes to China, it gets turned into iron bars and other materials, and we get it back. Because other countries have been able to do manufacturing much cheaper, we have lost a lot of the manufacturing industry in Western Australia. And not that I've done specific research in that, but I think if we can control the process of growing, manufacturing and selling on a local scale, we can support our own manufacturing industry as well. And when you're talking about people are looking for solutions that align with their values, and like I said, they don't want to work in the mining industry necessarily. And as I said before, people are willing to pay more for products that align better with their values, that are more environmentally friendly, more sustainable. And people are obviously willing to take pay cuts as well to make sure that their job is not contributing to more environmental issues.
Yeah.
There's so many factors in our favour here to support the hemp industry as such. And it's exciting. It's really exciting.
Absolutely. It's very exciting. I totally agree. Interesting you said about the hemp batteries, and yes, there are some posts that I've seen on LinkedIn and Facebook and other websites about some of the many different uses, and hemp batteries are one of those. One of the things that I've found at the moment is that there is a lot of research that's been done in the growing of hemp, but there's not that much research that's being done or support that the government gives to the development of new products. So have credible scientific research sitting behind the development of new products. Because it's really easy to say, hey, I'm going to make this. But then you need to go and have a look, how does whatever it is that I'm going to make fit in with the standards of the day? And does it actually perform to the point that it is commercially viable? And they are the sort of things that, to go from an idea to an end product that we can put on the market, I believe that there is not enough support in that space. And this is where innovation is where Australia can be fantastic. Because we've got an option to then say, hey, that's an innovation we keep to ourselves and we're going to manufacture it here. It's really specialist, and we have these really niche innovations that are potentially great commercial successes. Or we have an innovation that we sell to somewhere else to have it manufactured because it's maybe not so niche, but it fits in with the mainstream products that we see on a day-by-day basis. So I think there is a gap somewhere, and it's iHempWA's role, and I think the government's role as well, to find ways how we can maybe fill that side of the gap as well. Maybe have a hemp think tank, which is a group of people from government, from the public, and from the industry, call it a private-public partnership, if you like, that actually looks at new potential products that have credibility to then have a research program sitting behind it with the end view of commercialised product that can then be either manufactured in Australia or elsewhere, wherever it's the most feasible option. Something that we really need to pursue, I think, to make the hemp industry big again in Australia. Yeah.
So we can, not just export products, but also export knowledge and ideas as well.
Yep. We're a smart country. We've got really, really intelligent people with great ideas. But one of the things that I found out when I went into the hemp industry, I spoke to people and I said, oh, I've been in the hemp industry for 23 years. And the next one said, oh, I've been in the hemp industry for 32 years. And when I asked them, what have you actually produced? What is the end product that you have in your hand? There was nothing. And at that point, I said, okay, we are going to make an end product. I don't want to just be an ideas man. I want to actually have an end product that people can do something with, because we've all got great ideas and every day we'll come up with new ideas that we could do. But there needs to be a point where you say, okay, well, here, this is the footing, we can build on that. And just ideas is not it. It needs to be something that can be commercialised. Yeah.
And that is currently how the world works. We need end products.
Yep, absolutely.
Products are a very powerful way to demonstrate how amazing hemp is. You know, an idea is great, but abstract. But if you can show people what you've got, whether that be a house or the individual bricks or insulation or clothing or food, if it's tangible, that makes it relatable for people.
Absolutely.
And then people see the potential. That's right. And in regards to getting government support, they're hard work. But the exciting thing for me is that I am now an honorary member of the iHemp board, my first ever board position, and it's so cool. Anyway, I hope to be able to be a voice in government or in Parliament to help create awareness around hemp and to help showcase the products that are being produced in WA already, and to show that we could have a manufacturing industry back in WA. So during COVID, it became very clear that WA relied extensively on importing all types of products, and we are very isolated here. So by the time a product comes to WA, it has travelled a long way, so at least 3,000 kilometres across the country, basically. So when you look at the cost of transport, surely it would make more sense to put those funds towards manufacturing in WA and creating our own jobs in WA as well. That would benefit our local population and it would help our environment at the same time.
Yeah. And the other thing to probably look at is that if we have a manufacturing industry in WA of niche products that are not being made elsewhere, the trucks going back to the eastern states could potentially be full with WA products. Exactly,
that's right. And that would make so much more sense than what's going on now.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, so I think that's definitely some of the things that are all part of the puzzle when it comes to hemp in Western Australia. I honestly believe that Australia has a global role to play in the industrial hemp market. We are far behind counterparts in Europe, the US, Canada. It's now really starting to take off in South America. I've got some contacts in Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, where they're starting to grow, especially for housing, which is social housing. So they employ the people who are unemployed in the hemp industry to build houses for the people who are unemployed. It's a real nice story. Different kind of country than Australia, so there's more support from the World Bank and that sort of things as well. But nevertheless, there is a large investment being made for the benefit of the people. And in Australia, we're lagging. We're very slow in the uptake of hemp as a product in the many uses that it has. And I personally find it a little bit bizarre that it can work everywhere, but not in Australia.
I do wonder if, in particular in Western Australia, if a stronghold of the mining industry has an influence over that.
Yep.
Because when you look at the products that we can make from hemp, including biofuel, biodiesel, but also building materials, structural materials needed for building. You make hemp cars, for instance. So the hemp industry could be a massive competitor to the current mining industry in Western Australia. And I suspect this only, I don't have any evidence that there might be strong lobbying going on there too.
Yeah.
And certainly quite recently I mentioned there was a discussion around mining and took part in that debate and mentioned that mining is destructive for the environment. And I was told in very clear terms that mining is good for Western Australia. And I was surprised by that point of view. I'm not disputing that mining has benefits economically for us, But does that mean it is very, very good for us all? I'm not quite sure on that. And I certainly think that hemp could replace a lot of those products and some of those destructive practices. It is much easier to regenerate land that has cannabis or hemp growing on it than it is to regenerate land that has been mined. So that it just makes so much more sense to go down that path for me than to continue mining even for rare earth minerals like lithium and that.
Hmm. But do you think, as with all things, there needs to be a balance? And mining is something that needs to be done because we live in a world where we want to have products. But instead of saying that hemp is a competitor to mining, do you think that the hemp industry could be a collaborator of the mining industry?
And complementary. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And maybe we need to start some strategic partnerships with the mining industry to start supplying products out of hemp that are currently not products out of hemp. And it could be as simple as food to start off with. Housing that is made out of hemp for camps, well, biofuel. There's so many different things that could potentially be hemp, but I think we need to change our thinking that we're not competing with the mining industry, but that we should collaborate with the mining industry. And if you then look at carbon offsets and all that sort of things, which is another great thing, which is a completely separate topic, but that could be great benefits for climate change, carbon offsets for the mining companies. So I honestly think that there is something that government can potentially facilitate to start that conversation about how can we collaborate. There are some really good ideas floating around that could be implemented quite quickly.
Someone was telling me that in China, the government there dictated that I think it was uniforms for medical staff and industrial employees and the army all needed to be made from hemp. So they wanted a hemp industry. They created the demand straight away, and there was a hemp industry with the hemp clothing so much longer. So it was quite a simple process in a way. It works a little bit differently here, but that is definitely something that can be done.
In our society, one of the things that our governments do a lot is subsidise. So when we look at solar panels, for example, there was no uptake in WA at all. And you look at Europe and every chicken barn had solar panels on it because it was subsidised. And then all of a sudden, subsidised solar panels started coming in. And look at that, we became the world leader in the uptake of solar energy. Subsidising is an extremely powerful tool that we can use in Western Australia or Australia. And yes, we are not a communist country, so we can't dictate what people should be wearing, but we can certainly incentivise the use of hemp products.
Yeah.
And that is a realistic conversation that the government should have with industry.
Yeah, people are starting to look for more sustainable solutions.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, certainly if it's then subsidised as well, people are motivated. And I think most people want to see change as well. We all see that how things are currently, it's not really working for us. People want to make it better. And we have the resources to do that. We're a very wealthy country.
Yeah, absolutely. We just need to make sure that they are going to be used in the best way possible and to the benefit of most people. We're never going to make everybody happy, but I think that there is definitely an opportunity to get a really good new industry starting. And I think that, looking 20 years ahead, the world could be a much better place than what it is today.
I hope so. I certainly hope so. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I've given you plenty of ideas to bring back with you to government.
Absolutely. And I'm thinking of all the letters I can write to the different ministers, in particular covering agriculture, how to make it more attractive for farmers to grow hemp so that we get the raw material from WA. I think that's a good starting point.
Yeah.
Then I know deeper the Department of
Primary Industry
Rural
and Rural Development.
Yeah, they're doing trials. They've got a field day, I think, in July in Kununurra, where they're doing quite a few trials as well.
Yep.
So I hope to go there. That area in particular is known for good rainfall. So that would make it, there wouldn't be any irrigation necessary to grow hemp, if I understand it correctly.
The auto irrigation scheme allows potentially growing year-round. But hemp is an interesting crop, though, because it very much goes by daylight as well. So there are some of the things that they need to do more trials with. So it's very interesting what's happening in Kununurra. And yeah, be something that we're definitely looking at, because there's definitely something that could make the hemp industry, again, the next step up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe iHempWA can come to Parliament House and do a good demonstration of all the different users that industrial hemp has got, and set up a display there for a day and invite all the ministers to come over, and maybe we'll make a couple of pizzas in the hempcrete pizza oven.
Oh, sure. Okay. I will work on that.
Yeah.
And I'll just write that down. There we go. Live demo in the parliamentary courtyard.
Yeah.
Okay, so that we can work with that. I know that at one stage they trialled hemp milk during afternoon tea time.
Yep.
A special permission was required to bring hemp milk onto the premises. Like, really?
Yeah.
If people did get stoned off hemp milk, it would be such a popular product.
It's really interesting that every second cafe around Parliament House have got it on their menu.
Yeah. So I can definitely work on that.
Yeah.
And set up a display, make people aware of it so they come have a look. I've shown quite a few of my colleagues the hempcrete brick that I have in my office.
Yep.
They have no idea that could be done. I need to get some samples of hempwood or cannawood as well to show that when you're building houses, and especially once again because of COVID and supply chain issues, and then obviously the collapse of the building industry in WA as well because of that, we need more reliable sources of raw materials to build houses.
Yep.
On top of that, there's such a housing shortage at the moment that is leading to a homelessness problem, and so many of the houses that are available out there to buy are huge and expensive. We could see 3D printed homes that can be built fairly rapidly, and not necessarily tiny homes, but small homes.
Yep.
We don't all need 5x3 castle. That is ridiculous. The amount of cleaning and dusting they have to do for one, but also, the amount of raw material that you require for that. So that would, like you were saying earlier, provide employment, you provide housing, and you're supporting a manufacturing industry in WA at the same time. So you'd be winning on all levels there. And I don't think the potential of hemp is sufficiently recognised currently by our government. I do speak about hemp all the time in Parliament, by the way. They're probably bored with me talking about it, but
maybe they need to hear someone else talk about it.
Yeah, possibly. So I'm talking about it, one, because I'm really excited about it, and two, because the potential of hemp is huge.
Yeah.
I can see the current flaws that we have in our system, and I feel that hemp is definitely a solution there. I'm almost tempted to say that hemp can save the world, but that's possibly slightly too broad a statement. But that is definitely how excited I am about it.
Everything starts with a dream.
Yeah.
It's been really good catching up with you, Sophia. And if there are people who are watching the conversation that we've just had, and they want to know more from you or have suggestions for you, how can they get in touch with you?
I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm happy to share my email. So sophia.moermond@mp.wa.gov.au. So please, send me an email. Any suggestions you have to create awareness or amazing products that you want to share, let me know. I want to be that voice in Parliament.
Excellent. And obviously you've got a good voice in iHempWA as well as a board member. And people can always get in touch with iHempWA as well. Email address is admin@ihemp.org. And if there are people who are really interested in what we are doing, memberships are available, people can get involved. As I said, as a suggestion, maybe an information day at Parliament House. Members can help out in setting that up and spreading the word about all the good things that hemp can be. So, if there is anyone who's interested in that, get in touch with us, become a member and get involved. So thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing you promoting hemp as much as I do. And hopefully together we'll get to the next step and the next step and the next step. And in a few years' time, we'll look back at this interview and go, remember?
Look how far we've come. That's what we were saying.
Yes.
So for those people who are interested in being involved, who heeded the call from Iggy here to become involved, come to the 420 event in Fremantle. We will have a whole range of stalls there. We have a couple of speakers as well, including myself, and I think Iggy is speaking too. So you can meet all of us and possibly sign up for iHemp, become a member, sign up for the Legalise Cannabis Party as well, and educate yourself and then educate everyone else around you. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great event and I'm really looking forward to be part of it, and I'm looking forward to everyone who's watching this video to see you at the event, and hopefully we can talk much more about hemp right there. See you on the 20th of April in Fremantle.